Hey guys, Red here, and we are back with another SCP reading. We're starting today with SCP-66, Eric's Toy. SCP-66. Object Class, Safe, Product, Euclid Impetus. Although I'm guessing it's just Euclid that's we're needing to focus on. Safe and Product are also crossed out. There are some stuff in this SCP document that are crossed out. I'm not going to read the crossed out sections, I don't think, because I'm not. Should I? Let's do that, why not? Yeah, so in fact, I've just changed my mind. We are going to read the crossed out sections. So, Special Containment Procedure. SCP-66 is to be kept in a safe deposit box at Site-21. Personnel level 2 or higher may perform experiments on SCP-66 after filling the relevant request forms. Researchers may log the result in an experiment log 66 beta. That is all crossed out. Now we're going on to the thing that isn't crossed out. SCP-66 is to be kept in a tungsten carbide box in Site-21's high-value item storage facility. Once every month, the box must be manually inspected for damage to the interior. Footnote 1. SCP-66 consistently destroys any recording devices placed inside its containment box. If damage is present, SCP-66 must be moved to a new box. This task is performed via a robotic arm, capable of performing the task in under 3 seconds. Description: SCP-66 is an amorphous mass of braided yarn and ribbon weighing approximately 1 kilogram. Strands of SCP-66 may be taken individually and manipulated. When this is done, a note on the diatonic scale CDEFGAB is produced by the object. When a set of 6 or more notes are produced, SCP-66 will produce a benign, which is crossed out, effect of varying nature and duration. SCP-66 will not respond to manipulation while any effect produced by it is in progress, prior to Incident 66-2 results have included. SCP-66 transformed into a small calico cat for 17 minutes. Kitten exhibited significant friendliness and playfulness and appeared to be declawed. A song lasting 4 minutes, acoustic guitar with vocal accompaniment by singer-songwriter redacted. The lyrics warned the listener not to use sharp objects without parental supervision. A small cupcake, chocolate with chocolate frosting, and a lit candle stuck in the top. Notably, the tones produced prior to the effect corresponded to the opening notes of Happy Birthday. SCP-66 became responsive after said cupcake was consumed. Incident SCP-66-2. On April 18, 2008, D-066-4437 was instructed to use a pair of scissors to remove a portion of SCP for testing. However, when he began to cut it, 066 rolled 1 meter away from him before stopping and making an unidentified squeaking noise. Before he could provide any further instruction, 4437 attempted to cut it again. 066 rolled away and produced the phrase, "Are you Eric?" In response, after D-Class's 4437 replied in the negative, SCP-66 morphed into its present state and began emitting a loud, dissonant staccato notes until 4437 was escorted from the room. After Incident 66-2, SCP-66 began to exhibit behavior highly inconsistent with its previous properties. SCP-66 now displays significant mobility, primarily in the form of being able to move tentacular portions of itself at a very high speed. While SCP-66 is either unable or unwilling to use its ability for transportation, it will occasionally attempt to damage its containment by rubbing its strands against the side of the box, gradually wearing it down. This process appears to be unusually effective for the materials in consideration. Additionally, SCP-66 will automatically produce notes and effects in the presence of any human regardless of whether the human interacts with SCP-66. This process takes a minimum of 6 seconds. In the aftermath of Incident 66-2, Effects produced by SCP-066 have included a single bee that was released near the containment, stinging 4436 before flying away. The bee was not captured. It is unknown how the bee survived. Beethoven's Second Symphony was played at over 140 decibels, causing permanent deafness in 3 personnel and permanent hearing damage in 8 others. The room containing SCP-066 experienced a sudden and complete absence of light for 5 hours. Personnel in the room reported hearing loud breathing behind their shoulders, although no source was ever apparent. When it is not producing anomalous effects, SCP-066 will say the name Eric consistently in a deep masculine voice. So, SCP-066, a weird toy that wants Eric. Pretty cool. Now, SCP-67, the artist's pen. Item, SCP-67, Object Class, Safe. Special Containment Procedures. When not in use or the subject of study, SCP-67 is to be stored in its felt-lined wooden box. The nib is to be corked, and all art and writings are to be submitted to SCP Research Command for analysis and further experimentation. Description: SCP-67 is a fountain pen made by a German supply company called Pelikan at some point between World War I and World War II. It is pale green in colour, with a single red line going straight down along the side. The shell is oak, and the nib is extremely sharp, capable of piercing human skin if pressed even lightly. Although it apparently lacks a reservoir, the nib appears to never run out of fresh ink. In addition, the pen writes in iron gall ink, which is suitable for artists but would normally corrode typical fountain pens quickly. Researchers surmise that any subject holding SCP-67 loses all autonomy of the hand and arm that grasps it. Full sensation is intact, but the arm below the elbow is controlled by unknown forces, theoretically centralized within SCP-67. One effect is that the controlled hand will start to use the pen to write a detailed biography of the individual holding the pen. The biography will include such information as the person's name, age, date of birth, criminal record, fears, etc. Other times, the pen has been known to write such things as an occurrence that happened in the person's lifetime. For example, when test subject 1204M held 067, he began to write a detailed record of a motor vehicle accident that he had been in the year before. Later, the subject admitted that many of the details penned by the account were not readily available to him at present time, i.e., the subject had forgotten many elements present in the written work, including his previous car's license plate number, the other vehicle's colour, and so on. The subject stated that his memory of the event was so fresh in his mind during the description that he could taste the blood in his mouth. Subjects holding SCP-67 has also been known to create intricate works of art, despite the subject lacking any formal art training or previous tendencies towards drawing. For example, test subject 1102F, a young woman with no previous artistic experience, was able to draw a winged creature resembling SCP blank, described by researchers present as data expunged. When subjects were asked to explain what happens when they hold SCP-67, the typical response is that the subject freely relinquishes control of their appendage to SCP-67 so that it may complete its work unimpeded. See quoted response 1. Despite being instructed to not draw or write, subjects describe feelings of empathy, admiration, and cooperation with SCP-67 that coerces them towards a will not their own. Quoted response 1. I don't really know how to explain it. It just kinda happened. When I picked up the pen, it seemed as if my hand wasn't my own anymore. I knew I could move it if I wanted to, but I chose not to because I loved the picture I was drawing. It was like my hand had life. Suddenly my hand stopped and I realized I had complete control over my hand again, and I put the pen back down. I looked at the drawing and saw how beautiful it was. I guess the pen decided it was done and was finished with me. Tests and experiments. On blank 2000 and blank, a test was done to see how the pen affected living creatures other than humans. Experiment 1. The test subject, a male rhesus Mascade, aged 2 years 4 months, who had previously learned how to use pens and markers, was placed in a standard psychological surveillance room. Neutral wall coloration, one-way observable mirrors, with SCP-67, a work table, and a pad of paper. Subject picked up SCP-67 with his left foot, then took it in his right hand, then tasted it. Subject then put the pen on the paper and smelled it. After 30 seconds, subject picked up 067 again and began tapping it repeatedly on the table. Subject also began tapping SCP-67 on his own body. Subject tapped 067 with increasing force until ink was splattered on his fur. Subject then threw 067 onto the floor. Subsequent mechanical analysis revealed no damage. At this point, subject tore a page from the pad of paper, began rubbing it on the ink in his fur. This continued for 3 minutes, after which the subject clutched the page in his teeth and leaped over the work table onto the ledge of the observation mirror, with such force that the table was knocked over. Subject began smearing the ink from the paper onto the observation mirror while making repeated vocalizations. Subsequent analysis revealed that 50% of the vocalizations were consistent with the typical distress vocalizations of Rihis Maski, Macaque, and 50% were unfamiliar. After 6 minutes of smearing ink on the observation mirror, subject began tearing at the page with his teeth and claws, but dropped it before destroying more than 20% of the paper. Subject then collapsed on the floor, breathing rapidly and repeating unfamiliar, atypical vocalizations. Subject's handler reports that once removed from the psychological surveillance room, subject's mood improved rapidly. Subject was closely observed for 2 months following the experiment, but did not repeat the atypical vocalization. The sheet of paper was filed away in data expunged. So, there you go. That is SCP-067, a pen that makes you draw or write. Anyway, I think that'll be it for today. So, thank you so much for listening. If you liked it, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, because why not? It's free. And anyway, I'll see you guys in the next episode. Till then, bye.